Carter was brought into the courtroom less than 2 hours ago. The 39-year-old suspect is charged with continuous sexual abuse of a child, a first-degree felony, and continuous sexual assault of a child. He's accused of raping a family member more than 600 times over the course of 12 years, according to prosecutors.
In the heart of Houston, within the walls of a church meant to be a sanctuary, a horrifying betrayal allegedly unfolded. This is the story of Robert L. Carter, a pastor and bishop accused of systematically abusing a young family member for over a decade. Robert L. Carter, once known to his congregation as a man of faith and spiritual authority, served as a pastor and bishop at the Sanctuary Church of Jesus Christ in Houston, Texas. His presence in the church community was one of leadership and trust. To the outside world, he appeared to be a devoted man of God, someone who led worship services, counseled members of his flock, and served as a guiding light for those seeking solace in their faith. His role within the church wasn't just ceremonial. He held influence over the lives of many, shaping their moral outlook and guiding their spiritual journeys. To many in the local religious circle, Carter was seen as a shepherd of souls, a man chosen to lead and protect. Congregants looked to him for wisdom, and families entrusted him with their children, confident that he represented the values the church claimed to uphold: purity, humility, and service. His sermons were reportedly passionate and persuasive, and his presence behind the pulpit commanded attention. In church bulletins and Sunday services, his name was associated with messages of love, forgiveness, and divine guidance. Yet, beneath the image of a devoted servant of God was a hidden and disturbing reality. Behind closed doors and away from the pews, Carter allegedly engaged in actions that betrayed every principle he publicly preached. Accusations later revealed a stark contrast between the public figure he presented and the private horror he is said to have inflicted. The man who led prayer meetings and spoke of spiritual salvation was also accused of preying on the most vulnerable among his own family, his niece, beginning when she was just a child. This duality between image and reality is part of what makes Carter's case so alarming. The allegations not only shocked the public, but also shattered the illusion of safety and sanctity often associated with religious institutions. His position as a pastor amplified the gravity of the accusations, raising urgent questions about how someone in such a trusted role could allegedly commit such prolonged abuse without detection. The community's sense of betrayal was immense. This was not just the fall of a pastor, but the exposure of a deep violation of trust. Before we continue, please like this video, share it, and subscribe if you haven't done so. Your engagement matters a lot. Robert L. Carter was more than just a pastor. To many in his community, he was a spiritual father, a counselor, and a leader whose words carried weight. He was known for his charismatic sermons, often delivered with passion, conviction, and the kind of emotional intensity that could stir a crowd. His preaching style resonated deeply with his congregation. People who attended his church services often described him as anointed or spirit-filled, and he had the ability to speak in ways that made listeners feel seen, heard, and spiritually moved. Beyond the pulpit, Carter was active in community outreach. He organized prayer meetings, food drives, and charity events that positioned him as a pillar of support for the underprivileged and struggling families in the Houston area. He made home visits, offered spiritual counseling, and officiated weddings and funerals. For many, he was the first person they turned to in moments of crisis or celebration. His accessibility and willingness to be involved in people's lives reinforced the perception of him as a kind and devoted servant of God. He also had a reputation for mentoring young people, especially those from broken homes or with troubled backgrounds. To the public, this seemed like a noble effort to guide youth away from crime and temptation and toward a life of righteousness and purpose. His commitment to mentorship was cited by many as proof of his dedication to the community. He would often speak about the importance of family values, moral discipline, and spiritual accountability. For this reason, families felt comfortable allowing their children to spend time around him, both inside and outside of church settings. This respected status granted Carter a level of authority and insulation from suspicion. His title as a bishop further elevated him above typical community members. He was seen as someone who answered to a higher calling, not just the law of man. Because of his religious role, people assumed his intentions were pure and that his actions aligned with his teachings. However, this community trust was precisely what allowed Carter to allegedly operate without scrutiny for so long. His outward appearance of godliness served as a shield, making it difficult for anyone to believe he could be capable of such horrifying acts. His influence extended to such a degree that questioning his behavior could be seen as questioning one's faith or disrespecting the church itself. The case has since forced many to reevaluate how blind trust in public figures, especially those in religious authority, can sometimes enable cycles of abuse. Carter's community standing, once a source of admiration, now stands as a chilling reminder of how predators can use positions of influence to silence victims and escape accountability for years. The timeline of the alleged abuse against the young victim paints a harrowing picture of sustained violation and betrayal. The accusations against Robert L. Carter state that the abuse commenced in 2008 when the child was a mere 7 years old, marking the beginning of a protracted ordeal that would allegedly continue for approximately 12 years. This early start to the abuse underscores the vulnerability of the child and the profound breach of trust involved. Over the ensuing decade, the victim is said to have endured an astonishingly high number of assaults, estimated to be around 600 separate instances. This frequency speaks to a systematic pattern of abuse that permeated a significant portion of the victim's childhood and adolescence. The relentless nature of these alleged attacks would have undoubtedly inflicted immense and lasting psychological damage, eroding any sense of safety or normalcy. The reported locations where these assaults occurred further highlight the insidious nature of the alleged crimes. The abuse was not confined to a single, isolated place, but is said to have transpired in a disturbing array of settings. These included the supposed sanctuary of their own home, suggesting a complete violation of the trust and safety one should expect within a family environment. Additionally, assaults allegedly took place at Carter's grandmother's residence, indicating the exploitation of familial spaces for these heinous acts. The accusations even extend to public locations, such as behind an H-E-B grocery store, and with particular gravity, within the premises of the Sanctuary Church of Jesus Christ, a place of worship and community trust, where Carter held a position of moral and spiritual authority. The fact that the abuse allegedly occurred in both private residences and more public or seemingly secure locations underscores the pervasive nature of the control the alleged perpetrator exerted. It suggests that the victim had virtually no escape from the ongoing violations, as even places that should have offered safety and security were reportedly compromised.
A local pastor now facing continuous sexual assault of a child. According to official documents, Robert L. Carter repeatedly raped a young family member, even impregnating her.
Tonight, her father is speaking only to our Devin Clark, who is live outside of HBD headquarters with further details. Devin.
I gotta tell you, this warrant states that the rapes started when this girl was just 7 years old and lasted well into her late teens, happening at least 600 times with a felony charge now filed. The alleged victim's father is speaking out, but we do want to warn you, what you're about to hear may be extremely disturbing.
She had been around this monster since she was about 6 years old.
This man asked not to be identified as to protect his daughter's identity. That isn't stopping him from speaking out about this man, 39-year-old Robert L. Carter, who he says was a family member to his daughter.
He's always been big to her, and I had realized that she'd been fearful.
The man whose profile on the Black Preachers Network website has him listed as a bishop and senior pastor is now an accused rapist.
I don't understand, how you can carry yourself, walk around preaching the word and living, a lie.
According to Carter's arrest warrant filed last month, the abuse began back in 2008 when the victim was 7 years old. It states he would go in her room and make her perform a sex act on him on a nightly basis.
How? How could you even get aroused? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
The warrant states the abuse got worse over the years and that it would happen in multiple locations, including their home when everyone was asleep, Carter's grandmother's home, and behind an H-E-B in the parking lot before dropping the victim off at school. The document also states that Carter would bring the victim here to the Greater Bible Way Church in Sunnyside, where he had an office, and rape her.
She's had an episode where she ended up in the hospital, for psychiatric reasons.
The warrant states she secretly had Carter's baby.
What if she would have died that night? She had the baby in the closet by herself. And he came and got the baby and took the baby to a fire station and dropped the baby off.
With many questions, we went to Carter's address listed on the warrant. But no one seemed to be home, so we called him.
The person you are calling is not available. Record your message at the tone.
No answer.
The crucial transition from the recounting of alleged traumatic events to the formal pursuit of justice within the legal system. Following the investigation into the accusations against Robert L. Carter, law enforcement proceeded with his arrest. The gravity of the allegations led to the filing of significant criminal charges against him. These charges were specifically continuous sexual assault of a child and sexual assault of a young girl. The charge of continuous sexual assault of a child typically reflects allegations of repeated or ongoing acts of sexual abuse against a minor over a defined period. The inclusion of this charge underscores the protracted nature of the alleged abuse, spanning from the victim's early childhood into her late teens. The second charge, sexual assault of a young girl, addresses the specific period when the victim was an adolescent, further highlighting the severity and scope of the accusations. These formal charges signify the legal system's recognition of the seriousness of the alleged offenses and the commitment to holding the accused accountable. In response to these weighty charges, Robert L. Carter entered a plea of not guilty. This plea sets the stage for a legal battle where the prosecution will be tasked with presenting evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Carter committed the crimes he is accused of. Carter's not guilty plea indicates his intention.
And bond has been set for a Houston area pastor accused of raping a child for years and eventually impregnating her.
39-year-old Robert Carter turned himself into authorities early this morning after a warrant was issued for his arrest. Michelle Choi joins us live from probable cause court with the very disturbing allegations here. Michelle.
Yeah, Mia, disturbing and heartbreaking. I'm told the victim is a family member, and according to court documents, the abuse began when she was just 7 years old. We have to warn you, some of the details are graphic. Just hours after turning himself in, Robert Carter faced a judge in probable cause court.
Mr. Carter, you are here because of 2 warrants that were issued for your arrest.
Carter is charged with continuous sexual abuse of a child and sexual assault of a child. His total bond set at $200,000.
And the victim in this case alleges that she was sexually abused from the age of 7, did not conclude until the age of 19, with the sexual encounters occurring hundreds of times.
Court docs allege Carter told the victim, "No one will believe you, and if you do tell, I'll tell them that you came to me and did this." It goes on to say the abuse happened at least 600 times, taking place at Carter's home, in a grocery store parking lot, and at churches, including at the Greater Bible Way Church in Sunnyside, where court documents state Carter worked. We stopped by that address earlier today, and the building there appeared to be abandoned. The charges also state the victim secretly had Carter's baby in a closet when she was 16 years old, and Carter took the baby to a firehouse. According to Houston area activist Candace Matthews, she says Carter has been a longtime bishop and pastor. She sent us a statement from the victim's father, who did not want to speak to us on camera, but said in part, quote, "I'm glad the perpetrator is in custody, and we will let the justice system take care of the rest." He also shared his daughter, now an adult, was not planning on getting the child back. As for Carter, who we learned has a 14-year-old son and has also worked in hospice care for nearly 2 decades, bond conditions were set for him, during which he asked the judge this question.
Yes, sir.
And also prevent me from going to church services.
Yeah, if Carter bonds out, for now, he is not allowed near churches, schools, or parks, or anywhere where children gather. He will also need to be supervised if he wants to see his son. His next court date is set for tomorrow morning. Back to you.
Michelle Choi walking us through the very difficult details. Thank you.
to contest the allegations and to assert his innocence throughout the legal proceedings. This decision necessitates a thorough and impartial examination of the evidence and testimonies presented by both sides. A significant step in the legal process was the scheduling of the trial. The case was set to go before a court of law on February 21, 2025. This date represented a pivotal moment in the pursuit of justice for the alleged victim. The scheduling of a trial signifies the commitment to addressing the accusations in a formal and public forum, where evidence can be presented, witnesses can be examined, and ultimately, a determination of guilt or innocence can be made. The anticipation surrounding this trial date underscores the community's and the victim's hope for resolution and accountability. Furthermore, following his arrest and the filing of charges, Robert L. Carter was granted the opportunity to post a bond of $200,000. Bond is a financial guarantee provided to the court to ensure that the defendant will appear for all scheduled court proceedings, including the trial. The decision to set bond and the amount are typically determined by factors such as the severity of the charges, the defendant's prior criminal history, and the risk of flight. The posting of such a substantial bond allowed Carter to be released from custody while he awaited his trial date. While the outline does not explicitly state the conditions associated with Carter's bond, it is common in cases of this nature for the court to impose certain restrictions. These conditions could include requirements such as surrendering his passport to prevent international travel, adhering to a curfew, and crucially, a no-contact order prohibiting any communication or proximity to the alleged victim and potentially other minors. The imposition of such conditions aims to protect the alleged victim and ensure the integrity of the legal proceedings. The fact that Carter was released on bond while facing such serious allegations could be a matter of concern for the alleged victim and the wider community. It is a reminder that the legal process involves various stages and considerations. While the presumption of innocence until proven guilty is a fundamental principle of law, the release on bond can understandably raise anxieties, particularly for those who have allegedly been harmed. The upcoming trial represents a critical juncture in this case. It is where the evidence will be presented, witnesses will testify, and the legal arguments from both the prosecution and the defense will be heard. The outcome of the trial will have profound implications, not only for Robert L. Carter, but also for the alleged victim, her family, and the community as a whole. It is in the courtroom that the truth will be sought, and a determination will be made regarding Carter's guilt or innocence. The legal proceedings detailed in Chapter 4 underscore the importance of the justice system in addressing allegations of serious crimes. It highlights the various stages involved, from arrest and charging to the setting of bond and the eventual trial. While the process can be lengthy and complex, it is designed to ensure a fair and just resolution to the accusations brought against Robert L. Carter. The progression of this case through the legal system, as outlined in Chapter 4, marks a significant step towards seeking accountability for the alleged crimes committed against the young victim. The charges filed, Carter's plea, the setting of a trial date, and the conditions of his bond all contribute to the ongoing legal narrative, with the ultimate goal of reaching a just and fair resolution.
Very latest.
We first told you about the disturbing allegations Robert Carter is facing yesterday. Today, the state requested his $200,000 bond remain in place, and the judge agreed. Handcuffed and wearing an orange jumpsuit, Robert Carter was brought into the courtroom around 10 this morning. The 39-year-old suspect is charged with continuous sexual abuse of a child, a first-degree felony, and continuous sexual assault of a child. He's accused of raping a family member more than 600 times over the course of 12 years, according to prosecutors. They say the abuse began when the victim was 7 years old and lasted until she was 19 and took place at Carter's home, churches he worked at, and a grocery store parking lot. They say the victim secretly gave birth to Carter's baby in a closet when she was 16 years old, and Carter dropped the baby off at a fire station in 2018. On that same day, KHOU covered a story about a firefighter finding a baby that was left at a fire station. No word yet if this is the same child. Today in court, we learned the victim's child has since been adopted. The prosecutor in charge of the case tells us DNA testing comes next to determine the paternity. The prosecutor didn't talk to us on camera, but she did confirm Carter is a pet pastor and the victim's family member. She also gave us a statement saying, "Too often people in positions of power abuse and take advantage of people that trust them. I look forward to allowing the complainant's voice to be heard." We also heard from Carter's attorney.
When he learned of the charges, he turned himself in so he can clear his name. And we'd ask before there is a trial that he be presumed innocent, that people can keep an open mind and hold to him the constitutional presumption of innocence.
Bond conditions were also set for Carter. If he makes bond, in addition to wearing a GPS monitor, he's to have no contact with the victim, and he has to stay away from children, including his own.
Enduring psychological impact of the alleged decade of abuse on the young woman at the center of this case. The trauma inflicted over such an extended period, beginning in her childhood and continuing through her adolescence, would undoubtedly leave lasting scars. Beyond the physical violations, the betrayal of trust by a figure in a position of authority and within her own family would likely have shattered her sense of safety, security, and self-worth. The emotional and mental toll of enduring approximately 600 instances of sexual assault is unimaginable, potentially leading to a range of psychological challenges. The victim has shown immense courage in confronting this trauma and has been actively working with prosecutors in the pursuit of justice. Furthermore, she has embarked on the difficult journey of healing through therapy. This proactive step highlights her determination to cope with the immense pain and to rebuild her life in the aftermath of the alleged abuse. Therapy provides a crucial space for her to process the complex emotions, memories, and psychological wounds resulting from her experiences. It is a testament to her resilience that she is actively engaging in this challenging yet essential process. Amidst the darkness of this case, the strength and resilience of the survivor shine brightly. Despite the unimaginable horrors she allegedly endured, she has found the inner fortitude to navigate the legal proceedings, to seek help through therapy, and to continue living her life. This remarkable strength has not gone unnoticed by those closest to her. A family member, speaking about the victim's unwavering spirit, offered a powerful testament to her character. They stated, "I've never met a woman who, knowing the facts, can get up every day and not go crazy." This poignant observation underscores the extraordinary inner strength and resilience that the young woman has demonstrated. It speaks to an indomitable human spirit that refuses to be broken by the most heinous of circumstances. Her ability to face each day, to cooperate with the legal process, and to actively work towards her healing is a powerful demonstration of her survivor's strength. It is a testament to the human capacity to endure and to find hope even in the face of unimaginable adversity. Her journey is a powerful reminder that even in the darkest of situations, the light of human resilience can persist and offer a beacon of hope for the future. This narrative shifts the focus to the broader societal implications of the alleged abuse, emphasizing the critical importance of vigilance in safeguarding the vulnerable members of our communities. The details of this case serve as a stark and painful reminder that abuse can occur in any setting, even within institutions and families where trust is paramount. It underscores the collective responsibility we all share to be attentive to the well-being of children and to recognize potential signs of abuse or neglect. Each member of the community, whether a neighbor, a friend, or a distant acquaintance, plays a vital role in creating a safety net for children. Remaining vigilant involves being aware of potential indicators of abuse, fostering open communication with children, and being willing to report any suspicions to the appropriate authorities. Ignoring potential red flags or failing to act on concerns can have devastating consequences, as tragically illustrated in this case. Institutions such as schools, religious organizations, and community groups also bear a significant responsibility in establishing and maintaining environments that prioritize the safety and well-being of children. This includes implementing robust safeguarding policies, providing education and training to staff and volunteers on recognizing and responding to abuse, and creating a culture where children feel safe and empowered to speak out if they are experiencing harm. The alleged abuse occurring within a church setting highlights the critical need for stringent safeguarding measures in all organizations that work with children. Ensuring that there are accessible and safe avenues for reporting abuse is equally crucial. Children need to know where to turn for help and that they will be believed and supported if they disclose abuse. This requires clear and widely disseminated information about reporting mechanisms, as well as a commitment from authorities to take all reports seriously and to conduct thorough investigations. Creating a supportive and non-judgmental environment can empower victims to come forward and break the cycle of abuse. Ultimately, safeguarding the vulnerable is a collective endeavor that requires a commitment from all levels of society. By remaining vigilant, supporting one another, and ensuring that effective systems are in place for prevention, detection, and response, we can work towards creating safer communities where children are protected and nurtured, free from the threat of abuse and exploitation. If this story has impacted you, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to LAT True Crime Stories. Your support helps us continue sharing these important narratives that could potentially save lives. Share this video with someone who might benefit from understanding these warning signs. You never know who might need this information. Please let's hear from you in the comments. What would you do if you suspected a friend or family member was experiencing domestic abuse? How would you approach the conversation? Your insights might help others recognize when and how to intervene. Together, we can turn these tragic stories into life-saving lessons for our communities.